Chapter 51 Flame Sword Chi, Psychic Shock Wave. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Fire Goblin, that's interesting. Subai smiled and looked at the large number of green-skinned goblins holding spears. Goblin Warrior, Quality, Ordinary. Level, LV4. Introduction, Native of the Land of Redemption, Warrior of the Goblin Clan, good at fighting with spears, brave and fearless. It looks like he's better than the Kobold Warrior. Subai stood there, taking his time and waiting for the goblin army to come over. Instantly, the distance between the two sides has shortened to 200 meters. The goblin army stopped, and a goblin wearing armor and holding a dark red sword walked out. He shouted loudly, "Evil humans, that Kobold tribe, are you the one who slaughtered them, right?" "Exactly." Subai relaxed his voice and responded loudly, "At the same time, look at the details of this goblin." Goblin Centurion, Quality, Excellent. Level, LV9. Introduction, a Centurion is a low-level official position in the Goblin Army. He commands more than 100 soldiers, is proficient in combat skills, and is good at using swordsmanship. To do such a cruel thing, it is simply inhumane. Today, I will seek justice and kill you and all the soldiers under your command. The Goblin Centurion raised his dark red sword, pointed the tip at Subai, and shouted angrily, feeling the threat from the front. 170 springtails exposed their sharp fangs and let out deep roars. Discovering that the number of springtails was nearly 200, the Goblin Centurion's face changed slightly and he said, "How did you collect the intelligence? Didn't it say that the number of enemies did not exceed 100? Lord Centurion, this." The two goblins in charge of reconnaissance looked at each other, a little confused. "I don't know why overnight, the other side almost doubled the number of soldiers out of thin air." Goblin Centurion, are you scared? But it's too late. There is a way to heaven but you will not take it. There is no way to hell and you will go your own way. Wipe your neck dry and prepare to die. Subai sneered, with a strong murderous intent in his eyes. "These dirty goblins are really too arrogant. I didn't take the initiative to provoke you, but you came to kill me. This is just right, as it saves me from running around looking for some scattered beasts to kill. If I don't accept this large number of experienced babies coming to my door, wouldn't I be extremely stupid? Damn it! Even if you have more soldiers than me, I will not be afraid. The bravery of the goblins will devour you all." The Goblin Centurion clenched his sword and rushed forward. "All goblins, attack! Kill all the enemies in front of you. Kill!" The Goblin warriors held spears and charged boldly. The flame goblin with fiery red skin was one step behind and also charged forward. The springtails are on standby, and the hydralisks are attacking from a distance. Subai's eyes were sharp and he spoke quickly. 16 hydralisks stood tall, their bone plates opened, and their armor-piercing bone needles shot out rapidly. After the deep-grooved spines are upgraded, the hydralisk's attack range is increased by 50%, allowing it to strike enemies at a longer distance. Whoosh whoosh! Almost in the blink of an eye, a dozen goblin warriors fell on the charging road. At this time, the flame goblin stopped. Flames ignited all over his body and condensed in his palms, forming a fireball the size of a football. They aimed and pushed the fireball out, followed by bang bang bang. Dozens of fireballs hit the springtails, making low explosions. 5 springtails died instantly. There were also 7 or 8 springtails that suffered varying degrees of damage. This kind of flaming goblin can actually shoot fireballs from a distance. Subai narrowed his eyes slightly and shouted in a deep voice, "Attack the entire army. Kill the flaming goblins first." Roar! The companions suffered casualties, which inspired the springtails' fighting power. Nearly 200 springtails stepped forward with 4 hooves and rushed forward at high speed. After a while, the two sides were fighting hand to hand. The interstellar bug army has nearly 200 troops, while the number of the goblin army is only 150. In a close battle, the goblin warriors suffered heavy casualties in an instant. The spears in their hands can hardly break through the hardened carapace of springtails. The combat effectiveness between the two is not on the same level at all. Under Subai's order, a large number of springtails besieged the flame goblin. The hydralisk turned around and shot sharp bone needles to attack the flame goblin. although the fireballs they release have a certain degree of lethality, it is difficult to exert their combat effectiveness when they are approached. In particular, springtails have the talent of swiftness and are extremely fast. The flame goblin is simply unstoppable. Damn it! How could this happen? That the goblin centurion swept his long sword and drove away the two springtails in front of him. Immediately, he galloped towards Su Bai's direction. Take your life! That the goblin centurion's eyes were scarlet and he shouted angrily. The long knife slashed out hard. The sharp dark red flame sword energy burst out of the air instantly, heading towards Su Bai. Before Su Bai could react, Kerrigan rushed out and blocked the goblin centurion's path with lightning speed. Her eyes sparkled, and several psychic shock waves shot out of her body. Boom! That the sword energy shattered and dissipated in mid-air. The goblin centurion clenched his sword, locked eyes with Kerrigan, and rushed out again. Kerrigan snorted. Die! That she jumped up suddenly, and her figures crisscrossed in the sunlight, bone wings and black shadows intertwined into a gorgeous picture. As the figure flickered, the razor claws suddenly poked out. The speed was so fast that the goblin centurion didn't even react. Laugh! Razor claws pierced through the body, turbulent blood spurted out. In an instant, the goblin centurion's figure stiffened, his pupils dilated, and as Kerrigan pulled out his right arm, he fell to the ground. The Queen of Blades is so strong. Su Bai's eyes widened and he was extremely shocked. Excellent quality, level LV9, the goblin centurion was killed quickly, powerful, invincible, crushing everything. Su Bai could only use these three words to describe Kerrigan's power. In addition to the deep joy, his heart was also filled with a sense of security. It's so vulnerable. When can we have a hearty battle? That while speaking, Kerrigan used her psychic powers to clean the blood on her arms, then he moved and stood next to Su Bai. As soon as the goblin centurion died, the goblin warriors and flame goblins on the field instantly lost their will to fight. Turn around and use all your strength to escape quickly. However, how can the speed of these goblins compare to springtails? 10 minutes later, the battle is over. No one in this goblin army survived. The only fly in the ointment was that 10 springtails died due to the fireball bombardment of dozens of flaming goblins. However, nearly 150 goblins were killed. It can also explode many souls. If you kill 10 springtails, you can recruit hundreds more. So, don't be afraid at all. Chapter 52, Sweeping the Military Camp and Discovering the Black Iron Treasure Chest. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Goblin Centurion Soul. Quantity, 1. Automatic decomposition. Soul plus 50. Congratulations to the Lord, with the enhancement of the prayer effect, the number of souls obtained has increased by 10 times. Soul plus 500. Fire Goblin Soul. Quantity, 28. Automatic decomposition. Soul plus 700. Congratulations to the Lord, with the enhancement of the prayer effect, the number of souls obtained has increased by 10 times. Soul plus 7,000. Goblin Warrior Soul. Quantity, 120. Automatic decomposition. Soul plus 840. Congratulations to the Lord, with the enhancement of the prayer effect, the number of souls obtained has increased by 10 times. Soul plus 8,400. Fuck. 500 plus 7,000 plus 8,400, a total of 15,900 souls. It's developed. It's really developed. Su Bai was immediately ecstatic, with deep joy in his eyes, although 10 springtails were sacrificed in this battle, but after harvesting 15,900 souls at once, he was able to recruit 159 springtails. This transaction is not a loss, but a profit. The system's mechanical synthesized sound sounded again. Tip, explode the item and get 45 primary energy gems. Congratulations to the Lord, with the enhancement of the prayer effect, the number of primary energy gems obtained has increased by 10 times. Elementary energy gem plus 450. Tip, obtain 1 flame sword. Will it be decomposed? Long knife? No need. Su Bai chose to decompose, automatic decomposition, iron plus 100. Congratulations to the Lord, with the enhancement of the prayer effect, the number of iron blocks obtained has increased by 10 times. Iron plus 1,000. These goblins really provide help in times of need and benefit my territory. That the corners of Su Bai's mouth raised, and a smile appeared on his face. Soul and primary energy gems are in short supply. After a battle, I became full again. The springtails and hydralisks began to feast, devouring the goblins' flesh and blood. After they had eaten and drank enough, Subai ordered that the remaining goblin corpses be transported back to the territory. Tip: the evolution chamber decomposes into biomass 80. Congratulations to the Lord, with the enhancement of the prayer effect, the biomass obtained has increased by 10 times. Biomass plus 800. Most of the goblin corpses became food for springtails and hydralisks, therefore, the amount of biomass converted is relatively small. 18 springtails were injured by fireballs during the battle. However, after the queen's healing milk treatment, she quickly returned to her original state. At this time, the system mechanical lifting sound sounded again. Tip: congratulations to Lord Subai, your hero Queen of Blades has reached full experience and her level has been upgraded to LV4. Tip: after upgrading, the Queen of Blades strength, speed, bone wing strength, and psychic power will be improved. Tip: after upgrading, the talent, Heart of the Zerg is strengthened. Within a range of 2000 meters, the combat effectiveness of the interstellar Zerg increases by 40%. Tip: after upgrading, the skill, Kinetic Impact has been strengthened, which can cause greater damage to the target unit. Tip: congratulations to Lord Subai, your 160 springtail experience points are full and your level has been upgraded to LV6. Tip: after upgrading, the springtail strength, speed, carapace hardness, and claw sharpness will be improved. Tip: congratulations to Lord Subai. All your hydralisk experience points are full and your level has been upgraded to LV5. Tip: after upgrading, the hydralisk strength, attack speed, and bone needle strength will be improved. Okay. Everything has been upgraded. Subai nodded with satisfaction. Kerrigan's talent, Heart of the Zerg, has a range of 1,500 meters to 2,000 meters. If the scale of the future battlefield is very large, more interstellar Zerg troops can be gained. The buff that improves combat effectiveness has increased by 10 percentage points to 40%. Moreover, her combat power level has also been increased by 1 level, reaching level 13 now. Subai checked the details of the military units again. The combat power of level LV6 springtails has reached level 8. The level LV5 hydralisk has a combat power of level 7.5. As a result, the territory's overall strength will rise again. Subai beamed with joy, almost grinning from ear to ear with joy. I have to say, I really have to thank these goblins, otherwise, it would be quite difficult to obtain so many souls, biomass, and experience points at once. It was a pleasure to have springtails and hydralisks feasting again. Of course, Subai did not forget the 5 insect queens in the territory. After carrying the goblin corpses back, let them eat them first, and then let the evolution chamber start to devour them. Followed by, Subai stood in front of the hatchery and glanced at the resource page. Soul, 16180. Wood, 9,000. Stone, 2100. Iron, 2500. Elementary energy gem, 460. Biomass, 3880. Not bad. There are enough resources. Subai smiled and determined the number of springtails to be recruited at 140, for no other reason than there are now 160 springtails in the territory. He has a mild obsessive-compulsive disorder and wants to round up a whole number. Sol 14000. The hatchery began to surge. Immediately afterwards, springtails ran out from inside. It took a full 5 minutes for the recruitment to be completed. Looking at the 300 springtails in front of him, Subai was a little excited and couldn't help but sigh. Other new lords, at this time, it is already very good to have 30 soldiers. But I have more than 300 interstellar Zerg soldiers. This feeling is really a bit dreamy. With excitement, he led the insect swarm under his command and walked towards the direction where the goblin army was attacking. To cut the weeds, we need to get rid of the roots. Since the goblins have taken the initiative to invade, their lair must be removed. To avoid long nights and many dreams and unexpected situations, this goblin army was large in number, and the footprints left behind were very obvious. Find it along the way. 20 minutes later, a wooden military camp appeared in front of you. I found the goblin's lair. Subai looked ahead from a distance, his eyes burning. The goblin warriors in the military camp discovered the enemy's situation and quickly closed the wooden camp door tightly. Charge and crush this camp, Subai shouted loudly. 300 springtails let out a deafening roar and pushed forward in a dense formation. Boom, with one impact, the wooden gate collapsed. There were only a dozen goblin warriors in the camp, and they were so frightened that their faces changed and they ran away in a hurry, but he was still caught up by the springtail and died instantly. Subai took Kerrigan into the military camp. He muttered silently, "Destroy the territory stone." The system's mechanical synthesized sound rang in my ears. Tip. This goblin military camp was temporarily established and does not have a territory stone. So that's it. Subai looked around. Inside the camp were tents, which were in tatters and contained nothing of value. In the middle stands a large tent with the green flag of the goblin clan on it. Let's go in and take a look. Subai strode into the tent with long strides, scan around. At a glance, he saw a gleaming black iron treasure box placed on the wooden table. Chapter 53 Flying Scroll, Shaman. You are listening at novelfull.audio. I lost it. Dark iron treasure chest. How lucky you are. Subai looked happy, with a thick smile on his face. After arriving at the land of redemption in the past few days, this was the first time I found a treasure chest. He strode forward, with excitement. He held the handle of the black iron treasure box and opened the lid. A silver sheepskin scroll lay quietly inside. The golden silk thread outlines the complex textures and patterns. Flying scroll. Quality. Excellent. Introduction. An ancient inheritance. The production process has long been lost. After use, it can give people the ability to float in the air. Duration. 30 minutes. Fuck. Flying scroll. So awesome. Subai's face was overjoyed, and he was so happy that he couldn't even close his mouth. Scroll is a very precious one-time use item. It has been taught in classes in schools and military districts that there are many types of scrolls, for example, offensive, defensive, functional, auxiliary, etc. Flying scrolls are even rarer. After the novice period ends, the trading channel will be opened. If the flying scroll is hung up, it will definitely be priceless and will be robbed by all the lords. Put it away first, maybe it will come in handy later. Subai stretched out his hand, picked up the flying scroll, and put it into the storage space. Since ancient times, human beings have dreamed of soaring thousands of miles into the blue sky like an eagle. In the land of redemption, this dream finally becomes a reality. There are some extremely powerful races, such as the Phoenix race, which can even give their lords the ability to fly. Now that he is carrying a flying scroll, he has a safer guarantee. If you encounter some special circumstances, you can fly away. Then, Subai searched the big tent for a while, and after making sure that there was nothing of value, he turned and left. Before leaving, he lit a fire and burned the goblin military camp to ashes. Kill them all, grab it all, burn out. It must be eradicated without leaving any chance for the goblins to counterattack. Keep looking for snake beasts. Subai led Kerrigan, springtails, and hydralisks into the depths of the wilderness. Great! We have recruited a new orc unit. There will be no problem in surviving the beast wave. Zhao Xiangtian looked excited and almost burst into laughter. In front of him stood 6 orcs in white robes. The robes are made of animal skins and bear tribal emblems. Carrying a 2-meter-high totem on his back, it exuded bursts of ancient power. Shaman, level, LV3. Race, orc. Quality, epic. Weapon, natural totem. Talent, magic mastery. Skill, bloodthirsty. Enables a friendly unit to enter a violent state, increasing attack speed by 40%, strength by 40%, and movement speed by 25% for 10 minutes. Combat power, level 3. Loyalty, 85. Introduction. The orcs have an ancient inheritance and believe in shamanism. The shamans of the tribe are good at using shaman magic and draw endless power from nature and elements. The shaman not only has magical attack capabilities, but can also cast bloodthirsty spells to fully increase the orc infantry and orc pig cavalry. In this way, the comprehensive strength in my territory can be improved to a higher level. Zhao Xiangtian was very excited. He was about to lead his soldiers out and fight with real swords and guns. At this time, the 5 orc peons were running towards the territory with panic on their faces. No! Lord, a group of purple-skinned orcs have appeared and are chasing us. Hearing this, Zhao Xiangtian's expression changed, and he immediately thought of the group of purple-skinned orcs he met when he went out the day before yesterday. I originally wanted to maintain peace with these aboriginal people, but it seems that I was wishful thinking. Soon, there were 8 purple-skinned orcs holding broadswords and rushing over quickly. Meet the enemy and kill them. Zhao Xiangtian shouted sharply. The shaman took off the totem from his back and spoke complex and obscure ancient orc language. Immediately afterwards, the totem shone with bursts of red light. Several streaks of light were shot out and submerged into the body of the orc pig cavalry. Roar! They roared, their momentum began to increase, and they began to rush forward. With the blessing of Bloodthirsty, the combat effectiveness of the orc pig cavalry has been greatly improved. These purple-skinned orcs armed with broadswords are no match at all. In just 3 rounds of charging, all of them died. This is what you get for standing against me. Zhao Xiangtian snorted coldly, with deep pride in his eyes. Now, the strength of the orc soldiers under my command is so strong. Su Bai's number of soldiers was only 30 at most. Moreover, they are all enlarged versions of beetles, caterpillars, and ants. How can they compare with my orc warriors? Su Bai, I hope you can survive the beast wave alive. In this case, squad leader, I might even be kind and ask you to pay some protection money, and then send troops to station in your territory. After all, we are all classmates in the same class. I am very happy to give you some protective power. Thinking of this, Zhao Xiangtian became more and more happy and couldn't help laughing. Recruited 8 blood elf archers, which is not bad. Bai Mengyu looked around at the elf soldiers in the territory and nodded with satisfaction. Now, she has 14 blood elf archers, 10 blood elf swordsmen, and 6 elf warlocks. The comprehensive combat power has begun to take shape, capable of dealing with hordes of wild beasts and small groups of local forces. The newly acquired building, the Moon Well, can quickly restore soldiers' injuries and the magical energy of elven warlocks. The troops' continuous combat capability has been greatly improved. But even so, you still can't be careless. In a few days, there will be a wave of beasts. We must speed up the development of the territory and raise the level of the soldiers, so that we can be foolproof. Bai Mengyu waved her hand and led the elf soldiers under her command to walk outside the territory. About 15 minutes later, around a hill, a huge mine appeared in front. At the entrance of the mine, there were more than a dozen short and ugly humanoid creatures with tawny skin. Goblin Overseer, quality, ordinary. Level, LV3. Introduction. Goblin Overseer is a native of the Redemption Land. He is responsible for logistics work and is not good at fighting. Aborigines. Destroy them. Bai Mengyu shouted softly. She was attacked by goblins earlier, which made her lose favor with all the natives. As soon as they met, they chose to go to war. The 6 elf warlocks waved their staffs, and the majestic power of nature bloomed. Immediately, 24 tree warriors were summoned. Take big steps and rush forward. He raised his hard fist and threw it at the Goblin Overseer. Chapter 54. The Insect Queen hatches and is covered with germ carpet. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Bang bang bang, that the fists were smashed continuously, and the Goblin Overseer suffered heavy casualties and was beaten until he screamed repeatedly. After a while, the battle was over. The tree warriors summoned by the elf warlock are still very powerful. Bai Mengyu smiled, her paired dimples sinking slightly. Immediately afterwards, a group of goblins with pickaxes ran out of the mine. There were about 20 in number. Goblin Miner, quality, ordinary. Level, LV1. Introduction. Goblin miners are good at collecting resources. They are timid and like to surrender. Only when there is no way out will they become ferocious and fight for their own survival. Great human lord, we are willing to surrender, collect resources for you, and expand your territory. The goblin miners fell to their knees and shouted in unison. At this time, the system's mechanical synthesized sound sounded from my ears. 20 goblin miners have initiated a surrender. Do you accept it? If you accept the surrender, the system will automatically generate a contract to become an affiliated soldier of the territory. I accept your surrender. Bai Mengyu cleared her throat, her voice solemn. Thank you. Great human lord. We will work hard for your territory in the future. 20 goblin miners shouted in unison. Now, you start mining, and I will send some soldiers to protect you. By when you gave the order, my luck today is pretty good. With the addition of these goblin miners, the speed of collecting resources will become faster in the future. Bai, you have to work hard. But even if you lie flat, it's not a big deal. Sister is covering you. The Japanese Lord Koishikawa Shun is in high spirits at the moment, upgrading the level of his territory and barracks. Yesterday's battle with the High Elves allowed him to gain many souls and primary energy gems, therefore, only in this way can the territory and barracks be upgraded to one level in one go. Well, the newly recruited soldiers today can be directly upgraded by one level. Under my leadership, the Japanese Empire will surely reach its peak of glory. Now, start recruiting. Soon, just running out of the barracks, 8 demon dogs made of white bones with green flames burning in their eyes. Now, there are a total of 20 demon dogs and 1 high-level soldier Hellfire in Shun Koishikawa's territory. Soldiers of the demon clan, for the glory of the Japanese Empire, follow me out to kill monsters. This year, the Japanese Empire will definitely rebuild its past glory and trample both the Dragon Kingdom and the Mao Xiong Kingdom under its feet. Koishikawa Shun strode towards the outside of the territory with an excited face and intense enthusiasm in his eyes, the middle of nowhere. Lord, we found a group of mutated pythons ahead. Kerrigan's eyes were sharp, pointing to the northwest, and said loudly. After searching for half an hour, the snake monster finally appeared. Bai rubbed his hands, with a hint of excitement in his eyes. This is a group of ordinary quality, level 2 mutant pythons. There are about a dozen in number. 300 springtails rushed over and took turns spitting, which would probably drown the group of mutated pythons, of course, that assumes the springtails can spit. More than a dozen mutated pythons lit up their vertical pupils. After seeing the dense springtails and hydralisks, they twisted their bodies and tried to escape. Kill them, Bai shouted loudly. Roar, the springtail roared, stepped forward with 4 hooves, and swept forward. With the blessing of the swift talent, they are extremely fast. These mutated pythons simply cannot escape. In just a few moments, the battle was over. While the springtails were fighting for the python's meat, a system prompt appeared in front of them. Weak beast soul. Quantity 16. Automatic decomposition. Soul plus 32. Congratulations to the Lord. With the enhancement of the prayer effect, the number of souls obtained has increased by 10 times. Soul plus 320. Tip. Explode the item and get 9 snake gallbladders. Congratulations to the Lord. With the enhancement of the prayer effect, the number of snake galls obtained has increased by 10 times. Snake gallbladder plus 90. The evolutionary sequence of the insect queen, incubating carpet tumors, requires 40 snake galls, which is completely enough now. Bai didn't stay long, immediately led Kerrigan, springtails, and hydralisks towards the territory. 15 minutes later, Bai was already standing in front of the evolution chamber. Upgrade. Biomass 400. Snake gall 40. Under the segmented carapace of the hind insect, the abdomen began to swell. 3 minutes later, system prompts appear in front of you. Congratulations to Lord Bai, the queen of insects evolutionary sequence. The hatching carpet tumor has been successfully upgraded. At the same time, there is an additional attribute in the insect queen's detailed information. Hatch creep tumor. Creating a creep tumor can extend the range of the creep and greatly improve the queen's mobility. All soldiers of the interstellar Zerg can move faster on the carpet. Bai issued the order. The insect queen is starting to incubate the carpet tumors. The 5 insect queens raised their spider-like long legs and headed towards the 5 directions of the territory at a slow speed. This speed is indeed slow. If it were a springtail, it would have taken several rounds. Bai couldn't help but sigh. Finally, the 5 insect queens arrived at their respective locations. The abdomen becomes more distended. 30 seconds later, a dark purple blanket tumor emerged from the queen's abdomen. They seemed to be a mass of fluid material, most of which was integrated into the ground. Certificate tumor. Introduction. A burrowing bacteria blanket secreting gland that can produce a bacteria blanket covered with microfilament material. Coverage. 1000 meters in diameter. Effect bonus. The interstellar Zerg moves faster on the carpet, and the carpet will continue to treat the insect swarm. Feature. a creep tumor can divide again to produce an additional creep tumor. Note, you can only divide once. After 24 hours, new carpet tumors can divide again. I rely on. Is the creep so strong? Not only can it speed up the movement of the insect swarm, it also has a healing effect. Subai looked overjoyed, and the corners of his mouth turned up with joy. The bacteria blanket tumors began to secrete bacteria blanket, and the surrounding ground turned into a light purple color at a speed visible to the naked eye. The queen's movement speed instantly increased, becoming as fast as a hydralisk. Subai felt that his speed seemed to be getting faster as he stepped on the germ carpet. Perhaps, this is the ability that the interstellar Zerg feeds back to the Lord. The biggest increase was for Springtails, whose speed increased by nearly half, as fast as a gust of wind. Cerebrum tumors can divide again, producing new individuals. This is simply, descendants and descendants, endless. If the number of queens increases and they produce more creep tumors, the creep will spread faster. A radius of 1 kilometer, 10,000 meters, or 100,000 meters will be covered by the germ blanket. The Zerg will be able to exert a more powerful combat effectiveness, and the Zerg queen can also follow the large army to fight, greatly improving the long-lasting combat effectiveness of the Zerg swarm. If one day, all the lands of salvation are covered by germ carpet, then I can unify the whole world. Subai was in high spirits, with a twinkling light in his eyes. Chapter 55 New Talent, Bravery and Perseverance. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The night dissipated, the sky was slightly brighter, and the sky in the east turned white. Announcement: Dear new lords, today is your 6th day in the land of redemption. There is only 1 day left before the novice period ends. Announcement: The novice period is over and disaster strikes. The huge beast tide will attack the territories of the new lords. Announcement: Today, the number of beasts will increase exponentially near the territories of all new lords. Announcement: All new lords, please seize the time and improve your strength as soon as possible to resist the beast tide after the novice period ends. Let the storm come more violently. Subai yawned, walked out of the small stone house, and stretched. Kerrigan, as always, got up early to hone her combat skills and psychic powers. Yesterday evening, 3 worker bees and 2 young worker bees returned to their territory and collected a lot of resources. With the blessing of the prayer buff, a total of 7,000 iron blocks and 6,000 stones were obtained. At this time, the system's mechanical synthesized sound sounded in my ears. Tip: the number of free recruitments in the barracks has been refreshed. Current free times, 1. Tip: you can consume 3 recruitment opportunities in the hatchery and conduct a special recruitment, and you will definitely get interstellar Zerg flying creatures. Consume this recruitment opportunity and conduct special recruitment. Subai muttered silently. Tip: 2 ordinary recruitment opportunities have been consumed so far, and 1 more opportunity is needed to open special recruitment. Tomorrow, special recruitment will be launched to obtain the flying unit of the interstellar Zerg. I am really looking forward to it. A hint of longing rose in Subai's eyes. The power of the Air Force is obvious. By then, the interstellar Zerg troops will be able to form a 3-dimensional combat model. Open space integrated, it is capable of both close combat and long-range attack. The powerful single-point explosive power of the Queen of Blades, as well as the gain of the natural Zerg heart, coupled with the assistance of the insect queen, the overall combat effectiveness of the insect swarm will definitely be raised to a whole new level again. At this time, the system's mechanical synthesized sound suddenly sounded. Tip: the manor upgrade materials are all available. Do you want to upgrade? Upgrade, must upgrade. Subai didn't hesitate at all. As the saying goes, people are like iron and rice is like steel. Eat enough. Eat well. Only then can we have the strength and spirit to fight in all directions. In order to unlock new foods, you must level up. Wood 2500. Stone 1500. Iron block 1000. Elementary energy gem 200. A faint white light rose over the manor, exuding a warm atmosphere. 1 minute later, congratulations to Lord Subai, the manor has been successfully upgraded. Manor level reaches LV4. After the upgrade, the manor's free recruitment period has been shortened by 1 hour. From the original 22 hours, it has become the current 21 hours. Now, the initial level of newly recruited worker bees or young worker bees is LV4. I wonder what kind of food will be unlocked with this upgrade. Subai couldn't wait, with a trace of expectation in his eyes. Check out the upgraded manner information. Food that can be produced: white flour steamed buns, corn, dried pork, soy sauce beef, charcoal roast duck. I'll throw it away. Charcoal roast duck. Pork, beef, and duck are all available now. When you come to the land of salvation, you come here to enjoy the blessings. Subai grinned, almost bursting into laughter. After the quality of the manor was upgraded to the ultimate myth, not only the recruited worker bees became stronger, but also the types of food unlocked became very powerful. For most people, the awakened Lord Mark is relatively low level. In the manor before level 10, you can only unlock these basic staple foods such as cornmeal steamed buns, flour rolls, green vegetables, and steamed bun slices. Like Subai, a new lord who had all kinds of meat at the beginning could not find the second one even with a lantern. Let me try something new first. Subai walked into the underground storage room of the manor, picked up a charcoal roasted duck, unwrapped the tinfoil outside, and started to bite into it. The skin is crispy, the meat is tender and very delicious. Of course, you can't just enjoy it for yourself. Kerrigan, here you go. Subai picked up a new charcoal roast duck and handed it over. Thank you Lord. Kerrigan smiled brightly. A few moments, after eating and drinking enough, Subai started free recruitment in the manor. A cute young worker bee came out. He gave an order for 3 worker bees to take 3 young worker bees to go out to search for and collect resources. Today is the 6th day of coming to the land of redemption. When tomorrow passes, the sun will rise the day after tomorrow, the novice period will end, and the beast tide will begin to attack. In the last 2 days, Subai's plan was to focus on improving the level of the Queen of Blades. In other words, the beasts around the territory are left to the Queen of Blades to kill and gain experience. As for the levels of springtails and hydralisks, let them go first. As mentioned in the announcement just now, the number of wild beasts will increase exponentially near the territories of all new lords. I think it will be easier if I gain some experience. Kerrigan, go clear out the beasts around the territory and see if you can level up again today. Roger it, Lord. Kerrigan nodded, raised her long, straight and powerful legs, turned around and left the territory. The morning passed by in a blink of an eye. The system's mechanical synthesized sound rang in my ears. Tip, congratulations to Lord Subai, your hero Queen of Blades has reached full experience and her level has been upgraded to LV5. Tip, after upgrading, the Queen of Blades strength, speed, bone wing strength, and psychic power will be enhanced. Tip, after upgrading, the talent, Heart of the Zerg is strengthened. Within a range of 2,000 meters, the combat effectiveness of the interstellar Zerg increases by 50%. Tip, after upgrading, the skill, Kinetic Impact has been strengthened, which can cause greater damage to the target unit. Tip, a new talent has been awakened, Bravery and Perseverance. Fuck. So awesome. A brand new talent has actually been awakened. Subai was overjoyed and ordered Kerrigan to return to the territory through spiritual perception transmission. While waiting, he glanced at the prompt message again and nodded with satisfaction. The talent Heart of the Zerg has been enhanced by another 10 percentage points, from the original 40% to the current 50%. In other words, under the influence of the Heart of the Zerg, the combat effectiveness of the swarm is directly increased by half. Lord, I'm back. Soon, Kerrigan returned to the territory. Lines of information popped up. Subai turned his attention to the talent column. Talent 2, Bravery and Fortitude. As the Queen of Blades of the interstellar insect swarm, she possesses powerful psychic powers and endless courage. She can harvest a large number of enemy troops single-handedly with her own strength. If the number of enemies exceeds 10, the Queen of Blades will increase her fighting will, and her attack power, defense power, psychic power, and injury recovery speed will increase by 100%. Chapter 56 Ancient Ethnic Group, Primitive Zerg. You are listening at novelfull.audio. This is a typical example of being strong when you are strong. If the number of enemies exceeds 10, Kerrigan's attributes will be doubled. So powerful, so terrifying. Subai beamed with joy, a thick smile on his face. Kerrigan's original fighting power was terrifyingly strong. In the future, when facing groups of enemies, the attack power, defense power, psychic power, and injury recovery speed will be increased by 100%. This is equivalent to doubling the combat power. Killing those wild beasts and aboriginal people is not as easy as chopping melons and vegetables. After the upgrade, Kerrigan's combat power level was directly increased by 2 levels, becoming the current level 15. It should be due to the blessing of talent, bravery, and perseverance that the combat power level will be increased by 2 levels at once. After a morning of fighting, Kerrigan also brought 3,000 souls and 400 biomass to the territory. After a quick bite of lunch, Subai left the territory with Kerrigan, 300 springtails, and 16 hydralisks. The beast tide is coming. Kill more wild monsters, accumulate some souls and experience, and then improve the overall strength of the territory. As for the 5 queens, let them stay at home. Although 5 creep tumors have taken root at the edge of the territory, they only extend the coverage of the creep 1,000 meters outward. After a few days, more new creep tumors will divide and extend the creep further. At that time, you can take the insect queen into battle. Looking towards the north, Subai took the lead. However, there are many springtails and they are fast. After a while, they overtook Subai and surrounded him in the center. It seems like Springtail is consciously protecting me. Subai stared into the springtail's eyes and learned their intentions through spiritual perception transmission. Behind him was the hydralisk. Beside him, the Queen of Blades followed closely. In an instant, Subai felt extremely safe. At this point in time, it is simply unimaginable to have such a luxurious lineup. At least, Subai didn't dare to think so before entering the place of redemption. All the way to the north, we encountered some wild beasts, for example, swift rabbit, powerful wolf, King Kong rat, vicious dog, black bear, etc. Without Subai's instructions, the springtails easily crushed them casually. Hydralisk and Kerrigan didn't need to take action at all. I didn't even encounter local forces again. Subai looked around. In the vast wilderness, there were only traces of wild beasts and no aboriginal people. He hoped to encounter the kobold tribe and goblin military camp like the other days. In this way, you can quickly accumulate a lot of resources. The kobold hunter medal worn by the Lord can increase the attack power of the Lord's soldiers by 10% when fighting kobolds. At the same time, the hatred value of the kobold family will increase by 5%. However, this 5% seems a bit low. No new kobolds were attracted. That's it, keep going deeper. Subai led the insect swarm, looked in the direction of the north, and continued moving forward. I was a little tired from walking. He simply rode on the back of a springtail. Although it was a little bumpy, it still felt very comfortable. In this way, while killing the beast, we headed north. Before I knew it, I was 10 kilometers away from the territory. During this period, more than 200 wild animals were killed. Harvest 3,400 souls, as well as scattered materials, such as rhinoceros horns, snake teeth, rat teeth, bear skins, wolf tails, miscellaneous, but all of them are of no use. However, along the way, the springtails were full. I probably ate all my food for the day today. In addition, I recruited 140 level LV5 springtails a few days ago, and I have accumulated enough experience points to upgrade to LV6. In this way, all springtail levels will be the same. It made Subai, who was slightly obsessive-compulsive, feel more comfortable when checking their data. After crossing a hill, a dense forest suddenly appeared ahead. It is lush and green and covers a large area. The territory is located in the wilderness with few trees. It is really strange to encounter such a large dense forest. Subai looked forward, with a hint of curiosity in his eyes. Kerrigan narrowed her eyes slightly and said in a solemn voice, I seem to smell the breath of the original Zerg. Primordial Zerg? Subai looked puzzled and asked aloud, is this a brand new type of Zerg? Not bad. Kerrigan nodded and continued. The history of the original Zerg is very ancient. After a long time, they grew, evolved, became stronger, and gradually formed multiple large tribes. The words trailed off. In the dense forest ahead, there were roars. A group of vicious dog-like creatures rushed out. They have dark yellow bodies, thick limbs, and sharp fangs. The body is about 2 meters long and about 70 centimeters high. The size is slightly smaller than that of springtails. It is indeed a primitive Zerg. Kerrigan's eyes opened, and two dagger-like gazes burst out. It's a new kind of Zerg that is different from the interstellar Zerg. It's a bit interesting. Su-Bai looked at it intently. Lines of information popped up: original King Kong, level, LV4, quality, excellent, race, primitive Zerg, introduction. The original Zerg is an extremely ancient Zerg race. It was born in the extreme environment of lava and volcanoes. It is independent and free and will never surrender to any alien species. Hundreds of primitive diamond bugs stopped 200 meters away, their bodies tensed, their hair stood up, and they let out low roars. Not to be outdone, the springtail locks on the enemy, tilts its body forward, and lowers its head, ready to bite at any time. These primitive bugs are really strong enough. There are only about 100 of them in number, and they actually dare to put up a fight. Su-Bai was a little amazed and couldn't help but speak. I have encountered several herds of beasts on the road before, ranging in number from dozens to hundreds, but they were all without exception. When they saw more than 300 springtails and hydralisks, they were so frightened that they ran away and did not dare to stay for a moment. After bloody fighting and devouring evolution, the original Zerg took shape, so even if they die, they have no fear. Kerrigan responded. Could it be that these primitive diamond bugs are all flat-headed brothers, fearless of heaven and earth? Su-Bai remembered very clearly that once a person accidentally kicked Brother Flathead, and it actually chased his car for more than 10 kilometers. However, in front of the powerful interstellar insect swarm, even if the primitive insect is a crazy flat-headed brother, it can be easily crushed. Kill them. Devour the original Zerg essence and I will become stronger. Kerrigan's eyes flashed, dancing with sparkling light. Su-Bai was about to ask a question when the system prompts automatically appeared in front of him. Tip: the original Zerg essence is a mixture of genetic sequences and energy substances. Tip: after the Queen of Blades devours it, she can acquire the ancient power of the original Zerg, making herself more powerful and perfect. Current, original Zerg essence collection progress, 0%. Chapter 57: Devour the essence of the original Zerg and awaken new skills. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Su-Bai was slightly startled. Original Zerg essence. Unexpectedly, a new collection progress was also opened. It seems that these primitive Zerg are all treasures. It was actually able to increase Kerrigan's strength, making her even more perfect. At this moment, these ferocious-looking primitive diamond bugs had become magnificent in Su-Bai's eyes. Kerrigan, don't worry. None of them can escape. As soon as he finished speaking, hundreds of primitive diamond bugs on the opposite side rushed over with 4 hooves and a low roar. Good guy. So brave. I didn't even order an attack, but you took the initiative to charge. Hydralisk, long-range strike. Springtail, prepare on the spot. Su-Bai gave a low drink. Continue to implement this tactic. Let the Hydralisk perform a few rounds of long-range strikes first, and then let the Zerglings charge. In this way, the casualty rate can be minimized. After the deep-grooved spines were upgraded, the attack range of the Hydralisks was increased by 50%. When the primitive diamond bugs launched an attack, they stood tall, opened their bone plates, and shot out sharp bone needles. Whoosh whoosh, .16 Hydralisks shoot out 48 bone needles, almost in the blink of an eye. 6 or 7 primitive diamond bugs fell on the charging road. After 5 rounds of salvos, the number of primitive diamond bugs had been reduced by 1/3, the distance between the two sides quickly narrowed. Springtails, attack! Su-Bai shouted loudly. 300 springtails roared loudly and showed their sharp teeth. The sound was quite powerful. Between the electric light and flint, the two sides collided together. With the huge blessing of the Queen of Blades' talent, the heart of the Zerg, the combat effectiveness of the Zerglings has increased dramatically, although the original diamond insect is much more powerful than the beasts of the same level. But compared with springtails, it seems a bit unsatisfactory. Coupled with their lack of numerical advantage, they suffered heavy casualties in just a few moments. The original Zerg's tenacious will to fight is truly worthy of admiration. Su-Bai couldn't help but sigh. Only a dozen primitive diamond bugs were left alive on the field, but they did not escape and were still fighting to the death. 5 minutes later, the battle is over. All primitive diamond bugs died. However, due to its tenacious fighting power, 12 springtails were killed in the battle, but, after harvesting a large number of souls, such a few casualties don't matter at all. Unyielding primordial Zerg soul, quantity, 105. Automatic decomposition. Soul plus 2100. Congratulations to the Lord, with the enhancement of the prayer effect, the number of souls obtained has increased by 10 times. Soul plus 21,000. Looking at the prompt information in front of him, Symbiote nodded with satisfaction. More than 200 springtails can be recruited. Only by killing a large number of wild monsters at once can you gain a lot. Never worry about casualties, because the souls obtained after the battle can recruit more soldiers. Tip: explode the item and get 30 primary energy gems. Congratulations to the Lord, with the enhancement of the prayer effect, the number of primary energy gems obtained has increased by 10 times. Elementary energy gem plus 300. Immediately afterwards, Kerrigan lifted up her long, straight and powerful legs and walked to the middle of the fallen primitive diamond insect, her bone wings spread out. And her eyes flashed a rich purple. Immediately, a majestic spiritual energy burst out and swept around. The corpses of those primitive diamond bugs shriveled up quickly, groups of purple light balls condensed and formed, circling and flying in the air, emitting waves of powerful fluctuations. Kerrigan opened her arms, opened her eyes, and an irresistible suction suddenly broke out, attracting all the purple light balls in the air. This suction is only effective on purple light balls. Symbiote, Springtail, and Hydralisk didn't feel anything at all. The essence of the original Zerg, what a powerful energy substance, this long-lost ancient power, is really delicious. Kerrigan's eyes became sharp and her aura was rising steadily. At this time, the system's mechanical synthesized sound sounded in my ears. Tip: the Queen of Blade successfully absorbed the original Zerg essence. Tip: original Zerg essence collection progress, 2%. Tip: every 5% is used as a node to obtain different degrees of strengthening and improvement. There is still 3% left to reach a new node. Subai's eyebrows moved slightly, then he ordered, explore the dense forest ahead and see what else is inside. Springtails clear the way ahead. Hydralisk close protection. Symbiote took Kerrigan and strode forward. After entering the dense forest, the air became humid. The soil on the ground is also softer than outside. This is the habitat of primitive Zerg. I can smell them. Kerrigan stared forward, her voice low. Be careful to prevent the enemy from launching a sneak attack. Symbiote gave orders to Springtails and Hydralisks through spiritual perception transmission. At the same time, there was a click-click sound from the ground ahead. The next second, boom! Loud noises erupted. The surrounding ground began to collapse. Hundreds of green insects rushed out of the collapsed ground, waving their sharp forelimbs. Original digger, level, LV5. Quality, excellent. Race, primitive Zerg. Introduction. Primitive diggers are born with an absolute affinity for the soil. They can dig burrows with their sharp forelimbs and launch unexpected attacks on the enemy. What the hell? Don't talk about martial arts. Sneak attack. Springtails were unprepared and suffered casualties. Kill them all for me. Symbiote yelled, roars, crashes, impacts. In the dense forest, a melee took place. Since it was a close combat, the Hydralisk was worried about accidentally injuring the Springtails, so it swung its three-edged sickle to kill the enemy in close combat. Kerrigan walked beside Symbiote and used psychic shock waves to kill from a distance. Although the primitive diggers attacked first, they were caught by surprise, but soon, the interstellar insect swarm gained the upper hand. 10 minutes later, the battle is over. 18 Springtails died. Symbiote's gains were huge. With the increase of the prayer buff, you can obtain 23,000 souls and 400 primary energy gems. Kerrigan unleashed her psychic powers and began to consume the raw Zerg essence. The devouring ends when the original diggers' bodies become shriveled up. Tip: the Queen of Blade successfully absorbed the original Zerg essence. Tip: original Zerg essence collection progress, 5%. Tip: a new skill has been awakened, psychic displacement. Symbiote was overjoyed when he saw the last line of information. I rely on. So awesome. A brand new skill. He quickly checked Kerrigan's detailed information and focused his attention on the skills column. Skill 2, Psychic Displacement. the Queen of Blades sweeps past enemies at lightning speed and bursts out with powerful psychic power, causing area damage to all enemies on her path. Chapter 58 Special Recruitment is about to begin. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After reading the detailed introduction of psychic displacement, Subai had a thick smile on his face. AoE damage. Displacement skills. Strong. Combined with the first skill, Kinetic Blast, its single-point burst of damage can be powerful. Kerrigan will undoubtedly become more comfortable facing complex battlefield environments in the future. How does it feel? Subai turned his head and asked aloud. It feels good. My psychic powers have been strengthened. Kerrigan smiled slightly, a look of satisfaction on her face. After 2 fierce battles, more than 20 springtails were unfortunately injured. It's time to return to the territory and let the insect queen heal their injuries first. Return. Subai waved his hand and led the insect swarm out of the dense forest. At the same time, a kobold ranger wearing a cloak and carrying a sword came to the kobold tribe that was destroyed by Subai. Looking at the once vibrant home, turned into a desolate ruins, he clenched his fists, his eyes flashing with uncontrollable rage. Hateful. I just traveled for half a year, and when I came back again, my home has been reduced to scorched earth. If this revenge is not avenged, it will be intolerable to God. The kobold ranger tapped the ground and entered the ruins elegantly. Bend down and stay close to the ground. Use the most powerful sensory organ, the dog's nose, to smell the smell here. It smells like a human lord. These evil foreign invaders are simply committing all kinds of evil, and are 10,000 times more ferocious than the devils in hell. The blood feud of our tribe must be avenged. Even if the human lord is the devil in hell, I will kill him. There was a hint of determination in the kobold ranger's eyes. Sniffing the scent, he arrived at the outskirts of Subai's territory at a very fast speed. He raised his long sword and slashed out several sword beams. However, the sword light fell on the protective barrier, as if the ice and snow were melting, without causing any ripples. Damn it! This protective light film cannot be broken. However, it is weakening in intensity and should dissipate in another day or two. When the time comes, we must enter this human territory and avenge the people who died. The foreign invaders in the land of redemption are all full of evil and cruelty. Only by killing them all can the land of redemption regain stability. The kobold took a deep look at Subai's territory. Immediately, he tapped the ground lightly. His figure was elegant, and he quickly left. 20 minutes later, Subai led the troops and returned to the territory. Insect Queen, come and treat the injured springtail. Hiss. The 5 queens raised their spider-like lower limbs, quickly stepped forward, opened their mouthparts, secreted a red protein liquid substance, and applied it to the springtail's wounds. In just a few seconds, the bloody wound healed. The more than 20 injured springtails have fully recovered their fighting power and become lively and vigorous again. This powerful healing ability is really amazing. Subai couldn't help but sigh. As long as the number of insect queens increases, the insect swarm can become a perpetual motion machine, without any fear of injury, and can always fight at its strongest state. In a blink, the setting sun is like blood, and the sky is filled with glow. A fiery red sun sets in the west, its last rays of light illuminating the vast land. 3 worker bees took 3 young worker bees with them and returned to their territory after a day's work. With the increase of the prayer buff, 9,000 wood, 8,000 stones, and 7,000 iron blocks are brought to the territory. Continue to upgrade the territory. Wood 8000. Stone 5000. Iron block 2000. Soul 600. Elementary energy gem 400. The entire territory was enveloped in a faint white light. The scope of the territory begins to expand, and the outer protective light film expands accordingly. The area of the small stone house in the middle has increased by half. 5 minutes later, congratulations to Lord Subai, the territory has been successfully upgraded. The territory level reaches LV6. Territorial area increased by 1,000 square meters. Reputation increased by 50 points. Today is the 6th day since I came to the land of redemption, and I have raised my territory to level 6. This speed may have already broken the record of all new lords in the past years. The corners of Subai's mouth raised, forming a smile. If Colonel Wang Jingua, the new leader of the lords in the military region, were to learn about the current situation in his territory, his jaw would probably drop in shock. There is also the top leader of the military region who is full of family and country feelings, Lieutenant General Guo Jing. He angrily denounced experts from the Academy of Sciences and fought for his due rights. If he knew that he had become so powerful, he would probably be very happy and relieved. Taking advantage of the afterglow of the sun, Su Bai looked over. The original 5 carpet tumors all split into new individuals again, the fungus carpet extends outward, and the coverage area expands again. The expansion speed in the early stage is relatively slow, but when the number of carpet tumors increases, it will become very fast. Kerrigan said. Su Bai nodded. Not in a hurry, you have to eat your meals one bite at a time, and you have to do things step by step and take your time. Darkness falls and the moon rises, silent all night. The next day, early morning, the announcement of the land of redemption appeared before all the new lords. Announcement: Dear new lords, today is your 7th day in the land of redemption, and it is also the last day of your novice period. Announcement: Tomorrow morning, a huge tide of beasts will attack the territories of all new lords. Announcement: Today, the number of beasts has doubled near the territories of all new lords. Announcement: I wish all the new lords good luck and successfully survive tomorrow's beast wave. Hurry up the beast tide, I can't wait any longer. Su Bai's eyes showed a trace of expectation. Tomorrow, countless resources can be harvested. It's exciting just thinking about it. But it's much better than playing in the wild outside. At this time, the system's mechanical synthesized sound sounded in my ears. Tip: the number of free recruitments in the hatchery has been refreshed. Current free times. 1. Tip: you can consume 3 recruitment opportunities in the hatchery and conduct a special recruitment, and you will definitely get interstellar Zerg flying creatures. Today is the 3rd time. Consuming free recruitment times. Special recruitment is about to begin. Thinking of the interstellar Zerg flying creatures, Su Bai's heartbeat began to accelerate slightly, and his eyes showed deep anticipation. Once the Air Force comes out, the overall strength of the insect swarm will be greatly improved. If you encounter flying monsters in the future, you will be able to deal with them better. Use this free recruitment opportunity. Su Bai muttered silently. Tip: currently consumed successfully, 3 ordinary recruitment opportunities. Tip: special recruitment has been started. In this recruitment, you will definitely get interstellar Zerg flying creatures. Tip: are you conducting special recruitment now? Chapter 59 Symbiote Blade Insect, Living Weapon. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Before special recruitment, upgrade the hatchery to 1 level. In this way, the initial Air Force level will be directly LV6. Upgrade the hatchery. Su Bai muttered silently. Wood 5000. Stone 4000. Iron block 4000. Elementary energy gem 300. A faint purple glow enveloped the hatchery. It releases a unique aura that was not there before. The biomass and peristaltic skin covering it grew rapidly, and the volume expanded in a circle. 1 minute later. Congratulations to Lord Su Bai, the hatchery was successfully upgraded. Hatchery level reaches LV6. Tip: new recruitable units have appeared. I lost it. No wonder this time, a new breath will appear. It turns out that a new independent recruitment force has appeared. Su Bai looked happy and checked the details of the hatchery, currently available for recruitment. Springtail, 100 souls required. Hydralisk, 300 souls required. Hydralisk. Oh my god. Is it so powerful? Su Bai was immediately ecstatic, with a thick smile on his face. Being able to recruit springtails independently is already very impressive. Now, it's so cool to be able to recruit hydralisks independently. Springtails are certainly strong and fierce in combat, but the hydralisk is a long-range unit and can play a different and powerful role. Now, the springtails will be able to save effort in future battles. Once the hydralisk takes shape, hundreds or thousands of armor-piercing needles launch a volley, which is quite terrifying, just like the hundreds of primitive diamond bugs we encountered yesterday. I'm afraid they would all die on the way before they could even get in front of us. From this point of view, upgrading the level of the hatchery will not only increase the level of the initially recruited soldiers, but may also bring unexpected benefits. First carry out special recruitment, then spend souls to recruit hydralisks. Su-bai moved his steps, stood in front of the hatchery, and started special recruitment. Next moment, the hatchery began to surge, like a living organism, exuding bursts of strong aura. Its top skeleton had a huge opening toward the sky. A flying creature 1.25 meters high, 2.5 meters wide, and about 7 meters long flew straight out of the opening at the top. It had twisted teeth and sharp claws, and its 8 compound eyes glowed a strange orange color. A large number of spikes extend outwards along its snake-like body, all the way to the fawn-like barb-like mouth on the other. And, there is a secretory cavity at the tail, which is filled with a large number of squirming blade-like fleshy bodies. The leather wings flapped vigorously and hovered in midair. I rely on. Look at this appearance, it's extremely cruel. As expected of the interstellar Zerg race, they are indeed powerful. Su-bai looked overjoyed. He looked carefully and saw lines of information popping up. Alien Dragon, Level, LV6, Race, Interstellar Zerg, Quality, The Ultimate Myth, Weapon, Spike/Melee, Blade Insect/Long Range Attack, Talent, Living Weapon, Catapult Attack, The Mutilosaurus will eject destructive semi-sentient blade insects from its tail, ricocheting towards enemies near the target, causing damage to 2 additional enemies. Skill, None. Combat Power, Level 9. Loyalty, 100. Introduction, Aliosaurus has excellent maneuverability, is fast and dangerous, and is good at launching unexpected surprise attacks on enemies. Its symbiotic blade insect is violent in nature and will quickly break into several pieces and splash towards the enemy. Fuck. Has the ability to attack remotely. It's still a projectile attack, so powerful. Su-bai's eyes widened and he couldn't help but sigh. The above information shows very clearly that the blade insect sprayed by the alien dragon can eject enemies near the target. In other words, an attack by the Mutilosaurus can damage 3 enemies at the same time. At this moment, the insect swarm was finally somewhat complete. Close combat, long-range attack, air and ground integration. From now on, we will launch 3-dimensional strikes against the enemy. That scene is exciting just thinking about it. Congratulations to Lord Su-bai, your newly recruited unit Different Dragon has been strengthened to the Ultimate Myth level, and its number has been increased to 10. Immediately afterwards, 9 more alien dragons flew out from the opening on the top of the hatchery. Getting 10 of them at once is not bad. Su-bai nodded with satisfaction. He glanced at the resources page. Soul, 52300. Wood, 2,500. Stone, 6,600. Iron, 8,500. Elementary energy gem, 260. Biomass, 3880. With over 50,000 souls, you can let go and recruit as much as you like. Su-bai beamed. Currently, there are 16 hydralisks and 270 springtails in the territory. After a little calculation, Su-bai planned to recruit 164 hydralisks and 30 springtails. There is no other reason, just to round up the whole number to satisfy the slight obsessive-compulsive disorder. Soul 49200. Soul 3000. Immediately, the hatcheries seemed to come alive and began to surge wildly, one after another. Hydralisks twisted their bodies and came out one after another. 3 minutes later, springtails ran out one after another. Finally, it looks like a swarm of insects. Su-bai looked around. 300 springtails, 180 hydralisks, 10 mutilisks, and 5 queens. A swarm of insects surrounded him. In an instant, he felt extremely safe. Wouldn't it be as easy as playing house for such a large force to survive tomorrow's beast wave? Then, open the manor's free recruitment, get a worker queen, and order it to go out to collect resources. Come with me out to kill monsters. Su-bai was high-spirited and led a more powerful insect swarm to leave the territory in a mighty manner. This time, it was really a complete crushing. Those wild monsters on land can only be chased by the alien dragons and beaten in vain. He wanted to escape, but he was surrounded by nearly 500 springtails and hydralisks, and there was no way to escape. That's it, the swarm of insects slaughtered the wild monsters around the territory. Su-bai was leisurely, a little idle for a while. I can only stare at the prompt information in boredom, watching the number of souls and various materials increase steadily. However, as the number of springtails and hydralisks increases, the upgrade speed becomes slightly slower, but it doesn't matter at all. As long as the levels of the territory and hatchery continue to increase, the initially recruited troops will have a very high level. Moreover, Subai also discovered that within the fungus carpet, the evolution chamber could swallow corpses and decompose biomass from a long distance. In this way, it is much more convenient. A few hours passed, and both the soul and biomass increased a lot, but compared to what I got from killing the original Zerg yesterday, it's a bit unsatisfactory. At the same time, 10,000 meters away from Subai's territory, there is a huge cave recessed. On the cliff nearly 100 meters high, a huge griffin spread its wings, flew out of the cave, and soared high in the sky. Chapter 60. The countdown begins. The beast tide is about to attack. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Its body shape is like a hill, a combination of a lion's body and claws, and an eagle's head and wings. The pale golden feathers exude a powerful aura. The griffin spoke human words, and looked in the direction of Subai's territory with a pair of scarlet vertical pupils. Within a radius of 10,000 meters, there is the smell of flying creatures again. There can only be one air overlord in this area, and that's me. If you dare to challenge my authority, you will bear my wrath. That it roared loudly, exuding powerful power, spread its wings and fly very fast, arriving over Subai's territory. Now, Subai had just finished killing monsters with his insect swarm and was eating charcoal roasted duck and soy sauce beef at the gate of the manor. Boom! A loud noise erupted. The griffin threw a huge boulder and hit it on the protective light film. Subai looked up and said, "Holy crap, what kind of creature is this?" Lines of information popped up. Giant griffin, quality, excellent. Level, LV20. Introduction. Griffins have superb hunting skills, powerful combat capabilities, and unparalleled physical strength. Although they are huge, they can still perform many aerial tricks. Fuck. Excellent quality, level 20, so strong. This giant griffin must have been attracted here due to some factor. Subai was about to respond, however, the giant griffin circled in a circle and left quickly without stopping, staring at its retreating figure. Subai's eyes showed a trace of thought. The intensity of the beast tide faced by each new lord is not necessarily the same. There will be many factors that will cause the intensity of the beast tide to change. For example, the reputation value of the territory is one of the influencing factors. If the reputation is high, it will even attract local forces to launch an attack together. It is completely understandable that kobolds and goblins joined the beast tide and attacked the territory. After all, he had killed a large number of kobolds and goblins. It makes perfect sense that they come to seek revenge. But what the hell is this giant griffin? Excellent quality, level LV20, a bit abnormal. If this giant griffin comes to attack tomorrow, the pressure on the defense will suddenly increase. Subai frowned slightly, with a hint of worry in his eyes. Although there are also air forces in the territory, the alien dragon is only level 6. Even if its combat power reaches level 9, it is still a bit different from the giant griffin at level 20. What Subai hoped for was a complete victory, kill 1,000 enemies and lose 800. Such a tragic victory is somewhat unjustifiable. At this time, for worker bees took 3 young worker bees, collected resources, and returned to their territory. Subai glanced at the resource page. Soul, 5,100. Wood, 10,500. Stone, 14600. Iron, 14,500. Elementary energy gem, 260. Biomass, 4880. Just in case, upgrade the warning tower. Immediately, Subai spent 10,000 wood, 12,000 stones, and 12,000 iron blocks, raised the level of the warning tower to LV6. The attack range has not changed and is still 1,000 meters, but the number of enchanted flame stones on the top of the tower increased by 5. Subai raised his head, looked up at the warning tower, and murmured to himself, "It's always right to be safe." Yesterday and today, Koishikawa Shun recruited 10 demon dogs, plus a high-level unit called Hellfire. He looked excited and full of confidence in himself. Well, with 2 high-level units called Hellfire, it will be very easy to survive the beast wave tomorrow. The number 1 spot on the list of new lords must be mine. At this time, 7 demon farmers ran over in a panic. they all said at once. "Lord, we found a mine, but it was guarded by 6 wolf dogs. Wolf dogs are very strong, we can't defeat them. 1 meal a day. I'm really hungry and I almost don't have the energy to work." Hearing this, Koishikawa Shun's face darkened, he snorted coldly and scolded, "Baga, don't talk nonsense. Don't I know whether wolves and dogs are strong? As farmers of the demon clan, you sometimes have to find your own reasons. Over the past few days, has your ability to collect resources increased? Have you worked hard? I'm very busy and I don't have time to help you all the time. If I don't collect 1,000 iron nuggets today, I won't even eat." The 7 demon farmers looked a little desperate. "It's not that we don't work hard, if you don't have enough to eat, you really don't have the energy to work." However, the orders given by the Lord cannot be violated. The 7 demon farmers gritted their teeth and left their territory again. 10 minutes later, a system prompt appeared in front of Koishikawa Shun. "Tip. Your farmers fought with mutated wolf dogs, and 3 people died. Tip. Farmers' loyalty drops below 40, and defections occur. Tip. 2 farmers have defected." Suddenly, Koishikawa Shun became numb, his face suddenly pulled down and became tense as if it had been coated with a layer of paste. "There are only 2 of my farmers left. Why defect? Which lord can be as miserable as me? The glory of the Japanese Empire has not yet been restored. My territory has suffered such heavy damage. How can we crush the Dragon Kingdom Lord in the future?" That the more Shun Koishikawa thought about it, the angrier he became, and a trace of despair rose in his eyes. Bai Mingyu looked at the goblin miners in front of her, quickly collecting minerals, with a deep smile in her beautiful eyes. As expected of the goblin clan, the mining speed is much faster than my elves. At this moment, there are 20 blood elf swordsmen, 14 blood elf archers, and 20 elf warlocks. It's all around her. Moreover, the level has reached LV6. With 54 blood elves, it shouldn't be a big problem to survive tomorrow's beast wave. Even if the goblins around the territory attack together, we can still deal with it. It's just that Subai's Zerg has almost no combat effectiveness. Can he survive the attack of the beast tide tomorrow? Bai Mingyu frowned slightly, her pretty face filled with sadness. Yesterday we recruited 10 orc infantry, and today we recruited 8 more orc pig cavalry. Now, there are a total of 41 orc warriors in the territory. The bloodthirsty spell released by the shaman can greatly enhance the combat effectiveness of the troops. I hope I can break into the top 100 of the new lord rankings. This will give me some rewards. Zhao Xiangtian stood in the territory, looking at the orc soldiers, his eyes shining with confidence. In the past 2 days, he led his soldiers to kill monsters like crazy. The purpose is to improve the level and increase the overall strength of the territory. Only in this way can it be possible to get on the list. Those purple-skinned orcs will definitely launch an attack tomorrow. Zhao Xiangtian looked at the aborigines who appeared from time to time outside the territory, with a hint of worry in his eyes. Provoking them before was considered to have laid the foundation for trouble. Hope everything goes well tomorrow. At the same time, lords of the United States, lords of the Asen Kingdom, lords of the Cold Country, lords of the Bear Country, etc., are all the new lords of various countries in the land of redemption. Regarding the beast tide that is about to break out tomorrow, some are nervous, some are excited, some are frightened, and some can't wait. Of course, the wish of most people is to survive and successfully survive the beast wave. Only those exceptionally powerful lords will be eager to try, hoping that tomorrow will come as soon as possible. This night, countless people are destined to have insomnia. In particular, those who had awakened the marks of low-level lords were so uneasy that they could not sleep at all. As for Subai, he wasn't worried at all. He had just figured it out. Even if the beast tide is very strong tomorrow, it doesn't matter. At worst, they'll wipe out all the insects. The intensity of the beast tide means that a lot of resources will be harvested. When one springtail dies, 10 more springtails will stand up. So, no need to worry at all. As for the giant griffin, let it be dealt with by the alien dragon. If the mutalisks can't be defeated, let Kerrigan take action. Although Kerrigan's bone wings can only allow her to fly short distances and for a short time in low altitudes, don't forget that there is a flying scroll in the storage space. Even if the giant griffin is of high level, It will definitely not survive the siege of Kerrigan and the Mutalisks. In addition, there is a LV-6 warning arrow tower, which can also play a big role. Coupled with local operations, the Queen's energy continues to heal, therefore, the intensity of the beast tide is completely justified. The creep tumor split into 5 more, and the creep extends even further. Subai glanced at the lavender ground, with a hint of hope in his eyes. Later, the number of insect queens will increase. Throughout the land of redemption, creep tumors are hatched everywhere and the scope of the creep is extended. The scene is exciting to think about. At this moment, the moon is in the west and the sky is full of stars. Go to bed early today and recharge your batteries to face the beast tide tomorrow. Subai walked into the small stone room in the middle and lay down. Kerrigan followed, lying on the other side. Just like that, looking at Kerrigan's beautiful profile, Subai quickly fell asleep, silent all night. The next day, early morning. The rising sun rises in the east, and the morning light begins to dawn. The system announcement of the land of redemption rang in the ears of all the new lords. Announcement: Dear new lords, today is your 8th day in the land of redemption. Announcement: the novice period has officially ended, and the protective barrier at the edge of the territory has disappeared. Announcement: half an hour later, disaster struck, and the beast tide began to attack. Announcement: if the territory is destroyed, it is declared a failure to resist the beast tide, and the Lord will die immediately. Announcement: after the beast tide ends, a comprehensive evaluation will be conducted on the surviving new lords, and the new lord ranking list will be opened. Announcement: if you are in the top 500 of the list, you will receive rewards. The higher the ranking, the more generous the rewards. Announcement: the first place on the list will receive the only mysterious reward. Announcement: I hope you can survive and become the official lords of the redemption land. The countdown has officially begun. 30:00.29, 59.29, 58.